Good morning and welcome to Saturday Morning Comic Talk. This is a show where I talk about whatever the heck I thought up in the middle of the week with some top indie creators. So we have a great group today. And actually, this is the first time in a while that everyone here is a brand new guest. I've never had them on before, which makes my life easier because I don't have to come up with brand new questions, because my whole thought of this format was, all right, always asking new stuff. And then it's like, wait, if I get people on again, I got to think of questions. So it's hundreds upon hundreds of random topics to throw at people. But yeah, we have brand new people in the room today, which, yeah, I'm happy to see that. So let's start with some introductions, since, yeah, if you watch this show, you don't know anyone who's here, and that's a beautiful thing. So we'll start with John. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm John McGuire. I live in Suwanee, Georgia, which is just north of Atlanta. I'm a novelist and a comic book writer. I like to say that I'm a civil engineer by day and I'm a writer by night. So I think that's about it. I don't know what else. We got a couple of cats. Hopefully you don't hear any noise. We got somebody doing some work outside. So.
All right. Well, that happens. I've had that happen before. I've had right before a show a pipe burst in the front yard, so there's plumbers out there working. I'm like, all right, I'll try to keep going through this, because it's not like they need me to stand over. I'm like, you guys need any help? It's like, yeah, right. I'm paying them to not need my help. So yeah, exactly. If we hear noise, it's no problem. All right, so we have EB and Jessica. Tell us about yourselves.
Hi, I'm Jessica Silvetti, and we're here in Los Angeles. We are the creators of Shockheaded Peter, a graphic novel, and I'm a writer, director in film and television.
Hi, Ethan B. Kogan. Also a filmmaker by trade. Do a lot of film editing, have been a union member for the past 10 plus years. Writing and directing as well, and Shockheaded Peter has been our first foray into the comics world, and it's been a lovely transition.
And it's a 3-part series, so we did our first book, and now we're on our second one.
Yeah, and I got the first book. It was a lot of fun, and I honestly, there's so many Kickstarters I follow, so when Ethan sent me the message, I'm like, oh damn, I need to grab that. So awesome. It's one of those things. It's always good to get the reminder, and yeah, I'm happy to see part 2. So how far along is part 3 as far as the writing going?
Script is done.
So yeah, part time's next.
Yeah, hopefully our plan is to just go right into the next Kickstarter and have the whole graphic novel done
by next year. Yeah,
next year. And then are you going to do a full collection, like a trade of all 3 of them together?
That's the plan. Also talking to some publishers about going that route as well. So we'll see. Like we said, we're kind of learning as we go with all this, and having a lot of awesome creators and learning from you guys here. Just we'll see what opportunities arise as we move forward.
Very cool. All right. So Madeleine, tell them a little about yourself.
Hi everybody. Nice meeting you. Sorry for the lousy lighting, and I just moved 2.5 weeks ago, which is probably why I look like I just crawled out of bed. But I am the writer-creator of the Steampunk Supernatural series, Boston Metaphysical Society, as well as my new fantasy series, Morgana Pendragon. Boston Metaphysical's been around for 12 years now. We're probably one of the longest running comics on Kickstarter. I think we launched the year after Kickstarter launched. Oh, wow. So it's been quite a ride.
Yeah, it's crazy, because you look at your table and you have so much, and all that was run through Kickstarter when Kickstarter was in its infancy. So that is always amazing. And this is the first time, I think, where most of the guests are actually at Saturday morning. Most of the time they're like, it's not morning for me, we're in the afternoon. So we have 3 people that are actually West Coast today. So
yes.
Yeah. And then I met Ethan and Jessica at the HorrorCon last couple weeks ago. So yeah, it's funny when you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. But he's like, whenever you're doing a con, you meet a huge amount of people, and they all become a blur, because it's just like you're talking and talking and talking.
Yeah.
But are you doing any local shows coming up?
We've been promoting Shockhead Peter by doing a lot of local comic book signings.
Yeah.
We finished our last, so we hit up about 4 of them. We were doing. We decided New Comic Book Day would be the best to kind of get the word out, so we did every week.
Yeah, we were at Golden Apple, Pulp Fiction, in Culver City and Manhattan Beach, and then also
Comic Bug in Culver City.
Yeah, sorry, and then Pulp Fiction in Culver City. Yeah, so we were rounds.
And you know, we had a big gap in between part 1 and part 2, and that was our fault due to a lot of other work and took us away. And our plan is to kind of keep the ball rolling. So we plan in the coming year to kind of be around more with the book.
Yeah, as he said, like, you know, you learn as you go. So it seems like with a few people here that have been in it for a while. So as you said earlier, like we're learning as we go. So definitely, that's why we have the for book 3 finished already, and we're just like getting it done so we don't lose momentum.
And by the time when we were setting up our Kickstarter, Boston Metaphysical Society was definitely something we had up on the the pin board to be like, oh, okay, we need to be like that.
That's the aspiration we all have. It's like we want to be like that, but I come into the thing of, if I can just keep funding, I'll be happy. But you want to keep that growth going too. So the local comic shops are the best way. I mean, because that way you're not paying for a really expensive table. You're not trying to break the overhead. And now, Madeleine, with you moved, we used to be at all the cons. Like I would always see her every single SoCal con. So now it'll be just San Diego, basically.
Yeah, probably just San Diego and hopefully WorldCon, which is going to be in Anaheim this year.
Oh, okay.
So, I know I'll be applying for that. They do jury that. So, and I did Seattle last year, so I'm hoping they let me in again, because I actually want to loop in a vacation down there
as well. Now that you can.
Because San Diego Comic-Con, it's too difficult to do that after that. But I mean, just yesterday I was looking into a bunch of local stuff and applying to it. There's the Oddities Expo, which is a traveling one. I've never done it, but there's one in Los Angeles. Yeah, you should go write it down. It's like the Oddities Expo. At least the tables in Portland, because I have one in Portland next November. So I figured I can drive. It takes an hour. Yeah, which is not. It's like going to Anaheim from where I used to live. But definitely check that out, because they're all over the country, and I think it might be. You know, sometimes you go to an event that's not strictly comics, but then you end up being one of maybe a couple the only comics people there. So it ends up being a really good show because there's no other distractions. And people go like, oh, look at this. There's something I can read over here. And it's look at all the pretty pictures. And that's really great. So I always look for shows that are sometimes comics adjacent. And not just strictly comic shows. And sometimes they work out and sometimes they don't.
You're right. And those ones,
you just got to go like, okay, I'll go give this a try. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it's like I did Hellmouth in Torrance for a couple years, and that's like comics adjacent because it focuses on the Buffyverse and Angel and all of that. They have great guests. It's run very well, but it's at Torrance High School, so it's very low key. It's cheap to vend, and you get to watch Julie Benz and James Marsters walk by. Which is always fun.
There's a bonus right there.
There's a bonus right there.
And like you said, those are usually cheaper tables, where the big ones you're going to pay a lot more, so your overhead gets harder. And you do these ones where sometimes they're even free, or they're $100 for a table, and they end up being your best shows ever. So I've had those experiences for sure.
Yeah, the same thing with Comic-Con Revolution. I mean, obviously I know all the Southern California ones now, but I'm in the process of reaching out to local ones here in Oregon and Salem, and so probably in about a year or so I'll be able to give you the lowdown.
You can tell me what the good ones for me to travel up for are.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our first topic of the day. I was thinking about this one. If you went on a reality show, any genre, which reality show do you think you have a chance of winning? So you're going to go on this show and you can make it to the top 3 at least and have a chance to walk away with whatever their big prize money is. So, John, what reality show do you think you could actually win?
Well, we joke about it in our house. I don't watch a ton of reality, but like we do watch Survivor religiously. And so the joke is that because my wife's like, you need to put in, because we literally do the full breakdowns in the middle. We'll pause the episode. Okay, what do we think about this? I've written blog posts about strategies over the years, that I've seen. So I think that if I could somehow make it past the first couple of eliminations, like not be the first person voted out, I think I could make it pretty far, because I think I'm a good listener, as far as that goes. And so I think like the only bad thing is I might be a tiny bit too naive. And so I'm much more willing to trust somebody. But if I could find that one other or two other people, that you could like make that big bond with, I'm not like super athletic, but I'm not overly not athletic. So I think I could kind of slide under the radar. I'm a tall guy. So sometimes they do like basketball style things. And I'm like, oh, I could do that. That wouldn't be a thing. So I feel like if I'm not the first one voted out, maybe I could make a run at something in that.
Yeah. So yeah, and you already strategized. So you could get there. You could make a few rounds in that one.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So Ethan, what do you think you could actually have a chance to win?
By the way, just to tell John, there is, if anybody knows the creator of the White Lotus, Mike White, there's an amazing, he was on Survivor.
Okay.
There's an amazing super cut that lives on YouTube somewhere of him, just all of his clips. It's amazing. I suggest anybody just watch it because it is glorious.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's like walking around the beach with like a wine glass. Anyway, fantastic. For me, this is tough. So like at first, because I worked on Hell's Kitchen for a little bit, and I was like, maybe I could do Hell's Kitchen, but I don't know if I'm that good of a chef. I like my cooking, but I don't think I'm that good of a chef. And then I thought, I have a lot of ambition and drive. Maybe I could do Naked and Afraid. I think, if I just get past the initial like uncomfortableness, and then I would just lock in, I think I could be like, yeah, no, I could do this. I'll just like wait out just out of sheer will, and just like sheer will and anger. I think I might be able to place.
Oh, that's funny. I couldn't get past the naked part. I'm like, I'm out. Naked, very afraid, and just like, all right, I'm going to be cowering in a corner, like with some palm leaves, and I'll never get through it. So yeah, because I even if they blur it, I know there's cameramen watching me. I'm like, pass. So yeah, you're definitely, even the thought of doing it, you're stronger than I am.
I think because we have like a theater background, so I think like all that sort of like, self-conscious bit kind of, you just think back to the days when you were backstage and just changing costumes.
I still wouldn't do Naked and Afraid though. So
yeah. So what's your pick then, Jessica?
Okay, so this was a good question, and I was like, which one would I don't know which one I'd really want to win. I know which I'd like to participate in, but I was like, definitely not Survivor or Naked and Afraid. Any of those, like the bugs, all that, I would not. I would lose immediately. But I was thinking, okay, Dancing with the Stars, because I probably wouldn't win it, but I'd be in it to win it. So I put all my heart in it, and it's fun, and I do like dancing. But and that's the one I would have to choose, because from all of them, because I thought about the baking, I'm like, I'm not really that great at baking, so that's my choice.
Yeah, and that one, if you, because you'll get trained to dance better. So if you have some skill to start, they can enhance that skill. I mean, if you have no moves to start, they can't fix that. Although some of those celebrities they get have no moves to start, so they do train them up. So I guess if you're willing, like you said, you have that ambition and drive, then you got a chance.
Yeah, I could maybe like advance, like maybe, if I really put my heart and soul and sweat into it. And as you said, the trainers, so there's some hope with that one.
Especially clothing aspect to it.
All right. So Madeleine, which one would you want to try out, or which you think you'd win?
Well, I saw that question initially and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not a big reality TV show fan, but I mean, I watched Survivor years ago when a colleague of my husband was actually on it. And he actually got voted off pretty quick because he was young and a rocket scientist and everyone was scared of him. So they booted him out at like the second week or something because they knew he was just going to trounce them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to agree with Jessica that it'd be Dancing with the Stars, and mainly because I do have a dance and athletic background, so I would actually have a shot. And yeah, I know all about training, so that's a mindset that's not very difficult for me to get my head around.
Yeah. And if you start there, you already have an advantage over some of the people that are just there for their celebrity.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you can hope that you can beat them out and advance through enough, then people start liking you, and there you go. You have your chance.
Yeah. So. I mean, it may not win, but I don't think I'd be the first one gone.
Yeah. And I guess that's all you can ask for is to make it past week one. Don't be the first dumped one. Yeah, for me, even though I wrote the question, it was hard for me to think because I really don't watch reality shows. The ones that I do watch are a lot of cooking shows. So I would probably go on one of those barbecue shows where the smokers, because that's something I've worked with and gotten pretty good at. I mean, probably not their level. They'd laugh me off, but I think I could pull off one or two spectacular dishes to get me through a couple weeks. And then I just hope, I don't know if they give them recipes and tips or if it's all just from their own memory, because that what you see isn't exactly what's happening behind the scenes. And you said you worked on Hell's Kitchen, so you know that firsthand. But I would think even with just what I know, without any help, I could pull off a couple strong dishes and hope that someone else just botched theirs and moved me through a few weeks, because that's about all I can think of. I would love to do one of those, great race shows or something like that. And my wife and I watched that show Alone, where they just drop them into the wilderness. And I'm like, could I build a shelter? I would just kind of dig a hole and hang out in there. But I don't want to have to go kill an animal and eat it. And I see those people that try to survive on grass and they don't make it very far. So like, I like to think like I could handle the isolation, but it's like, no, I don't want to have to go slaughter rabbits and birds. So I think that part puts me out. I'll smoke them if someone else slaughtered them for me, but I don't want to have to do the hard work. Then I'm like, damn it, I'm the grass eating guy. All right. So yeah, good answers to that. And now we're going to kind of shift gears entirely. And we're going to talk about who is the greatest cinematic villain, kind of wrapping up Halloween. Cause this month I had a lot of shows where I would have normally done a lot of Halloween themed ones, but I had lots of shows where I wasn't here for Saturday. So we're going to kind of wrap this up with the greatest cinematic villain, but it doesn't have to be a horror movie villain. It can be any villain. It could be from dramas, horror movies, sci-fi, fantasy. Just what do you think is the GOAT? Who's the GOAT of the cinematic villains? So Ethan, we'll start with you on this one. Who do you think is the greatest of cinematic villains?
So I had a tough time with this because, you go through what are your favorites, and then you try to think of classic, iconic, and you want to be a little different. So I had three that I was torn with. At first, I was like, a really good answer would be, and very obscure answer would be Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood. Very complex answer.
Yes.
Good one.
But I think more going back to my childhood, and I think that was more universally accepted, would be Hans Gruber of Die Hard.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. He's great.
So I think I'd have to settle on, he's more, even though Daniel Plainview is probably more of a sinister guy when you get down to it, Hans Gruber is just the cinematic, awesome, villain that I think everyone can kind of rally behind.
Oh yeah. and you, I always have to pick four because I have to get them. And he was my pick. So I got to go with my plan B. Cause yeah, he's such a great villain too. Cause he's so charismatic, and you just can't help but love him. But he's completely evil and is willing to kill people at the drop of a hat with no remorse. So he's vile, but you just love him. He's so perfect.
Yeah, I think you love him because he's Alan Rickman.
Yeah,
Alan Rickman,
absolutely.
I don't think many actors could have pulled that off, where he's such an awful human being, but you love him because he's Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
He's so good in the role.
Such a lovable villain.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, and then he's Snape, and he's also, I mean, you can argue that Snape redeems himself in the end, but he's pretty vile as well. But again, you just love him. You're like, damn. The Alan Rickman of it all is just like, you can't hate an Alan Rickman villain. Even if he's the worst villain, you're just like, I can still hang with him. He's not so bad.
Too much charisma. Too much charisma.
Yeah.
Can I alter my answer to just Alan Rickman villains? Because if you go even the Sheriff of Nottingham in the Robin Hood movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He was the best part of that movie. That movie was so awful, but the only person worth watching was Alan Rickman.
The best line, why a spoon, cousin? Because it'll hurt more, you idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there we go. Alan Rickman, The Collective is the answer for that one.
Collective
you can't go wrong with any of them.
Yeah. My answer.
All right. So Jessica, what's your pick for this one?
So mine came to me immediately, and I was like, Jack Nicholson in The Shining, like 100%. Because it's funny, you were talking about with yours, like he's such a great villain, but the evolution of him as a villain is amazing. And it's just like that, it's seared in your mind, you know, how like insane he is. I love that. Like that is probably, I think, the best cinematic villain for me.
And I'm celebrating it with my hat, which is a Shining hat.
Oh,
nice.
Wow.
You got that at Comic-Con, right?
Yeah, I got this at Comic-Con.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, everything about that is just amazing.
I mean, can't go wrong.
Yeah.
That's easy because he's just perfect. So all right, Madeleine, who would you pick?
Well, the one thing that for me, a villain has to be sympathetic. And I mean, that is really critical because there's a lot of great over the top villains, but they have to be sympathetic. And probably it was hard to choose, but I have to say my favorite would be Roy Batty from Blade Runner.
Okay. That's a good one.
So good.
Because you just, you know, he's relentless, but yet once you understand his backstory, you want him to live. You really want him to live, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
That monologue in the rain, so good.
Yeah.
It's like a punch in the gut there. You know, like you said, you want him to survive, and then you get to that point, and it's like, well, this is the end, you know. But
yeah.
And you have so much more emotional connection to him than you do with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I could see that.
You're all in with the villain. You're all in, and obviously a lot has to do with Rutger Hauer's performance. He was brilliant in the way it was shot and everything. The actors clearly bring their own specialness to their villains. But yeah, it would be Roy Batty.
Didn't they say that Rutger Hauer actually improvised a lot of that final monologue?
I understand that's true. Yeah.
All right. So that's crazy. Yeah, that movie, it's one of those ones that I don't think about him when I think of villains, but as soon as you say it, it makes perfect sense. And the fact that he improv that is even better. So all right, John, who would you pick?
We're all touching on really good actors here.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to that. The great actors make themselves into great heroes or villains.
Yeah.
So kind of, I was thinking that, you know, the thing that makes a good villain is they need to be a schemer, but there also needs to be a level of cowardice to them. And I thought the one that hit that just perfectly is Prince Humperdinck from The Princess Bride. Just because I love the fact that early on, you know, he's really manipulating all the events to, you know, get Buttercup, done away with by Vizzini and his crew. You know, he has the whole thing of like, you know, I have, I've got, a war to start, a wedding to plan, and then as Rugen says, well, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So it's tongue in cheek certainly, but then when you get towards the end and we have the confrontation to the pain with Wesley, we see his true colors of the cowardice there. It's like he's good with the puppet mastering, but past that, he has no backbone at all. And so I love both the comic aspect of it, but even when you take kind of one step away from that, it's like, no, at his core, he's just like a sniveling, villain coward that the heroes thing can rise above so much. You want him to lose, as opposed to like, Blade Runner. You actually want this guy. It's like, when is, as Fred Savage says, who gets Humperdinck? Like that's what we're all saying throughout the movie. Who's going to beat him?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll do my pivot, and I'm going to go from Inglourious Bastards, Hans Landa. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but yeah, just Christopher Waltz is so vile. Like, he's not redeemable at all, and he's not sympathetic, but he's just so charismatic in his evil. And when he's interrogating in the beginning of the film at that farm, and he can come off so sweet, and then he's got that awfulness to him, and then he gets he gets it carved in his head in the end. So I love him as a villain, especially since Hans Gruber got snatched up first. So my first round draft pick got trapped. Got picked.
He was my third pick. I even said she knows. I have three: Daniel Plainview and the two Hanses.
Okay, yeah, and you can't go wrong. Either Hans. I mean, Hans Gruber is just as evil, but I guess the Alan Rickman of it, you just like him. But Christopher Waltz also. I mean, he nailed that role, and I think that was probably the first movie I had ever seen him in. It's like, damn, he's just coming in strong, and won the Academy Award for it as well. So yeah, he came in hot on that one. All right, so the Hanses, I got one Hans, you got another one.
Yeah.
All right. So
anything that Alan Rickman does. So
all Alan
I think
Rickman.
we all sign off on that.
Yeah, we've all just kind of gone to yes. Any Alan Rickman villain is automatically in there, even if it was a terrible movie. I don't know if he was in any. Well, I guess Robin Hood. Some people like that movie.
That was a terrible movie.
That's a terrible movie. He elevates some garbage and some the shifting accents of Kevin Costner and everything else.
The shifting.
That could be the movie villain for that one too.
The shifting accents,
The British accents of a villain of its own for Kevin Costner.
A villain to the audience, yeah.
Yeah, we all suffered. All right, so shifting gears again, because that's how this show operates. We just kind of bounce back and forth to different things. Now we're going to talk about what is your soundtrack when you create. So what is the music that you go to automatically when you're going to be creating, and it's going to help enhance that creation? So we'll start with you, Jessica, this time. So what's your music for creation?
It depends on the project. So it depends on that vibe, right? Like if I'm writing something that, for instance, there was a violin script, so obviously a lot of classical music. If there's something that has a bit more of like, I don't know, like a vibe like that where it takes place. I'm originally from Mexico City, so my family is Latina, and I listened to a lot of like music growing up that's like Latin music. So it depends. It could be something in Spanish. It could be a nice romantic ballad that's called a bolero. It could be dance music. It just depends on the vibe of what I'm writing and the scene and how it like lends itself. Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, so Madeleine, what would you pick for your music to write to?
I'm boring here. I like silence.
And there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, I like silence. I don't like the distractions because, I have to live in my own head, and I don't want to deal with any of that else going on. So no, I think I used to many years ago, but it just didn't do anything for me. So no, I like the silence.
sometimes that's harder to get than any music, though. It's just,
Yeah.
you got to
That's
get.
one of the reasons why I moved to Oregon.
Yeah, you should have an easier time there than you could
Yeah.
down here, because I just think that, you know, there's silence, and then there's the trash truck pounding down the street, or there's, you know, whatever random noise, or now it seems to be the kids on those motorized bicycles just zipping around everywhere. So silence is the hardest thing to get. So that's why I kind of need music, because to drown out the outside noises. But you have a place where you can, and I guess if I went up to Big Bear or something like that, there's ways you can get to silence in California. It's just harder when you're in, you know, a more suburban area.
Yeah. You do have to travel. Yeah.
All right. So John, what's your music of choice?
So I'm kind of like Jessica, like according to what the project is, sometimes dictates kind of what I'm in the mood for. But I actually listen to like something like the Deftones or you know, grunge music, Alice in Chains, those type things. I don't mind having lyrics in the, you know, in the songs. Mostly I can't do it though if it's a new album. Like if I just bought it, it can't be something I write to, because now I'm listening for lyrics. I'm listening for that. But if I've listened to it 100 times, it almost like kind of fades into the background of my mind. And so, you know, with some of the stuff I'm writing more of a steampunk style thing, that might be one genre. If it's cyberpunk or sci-fi, it might be a little more the Deftone side of things. So just whatever kind of gets me in that mood initially, I think is what I'll flip on. And then kind of like what you were saying, to block out the rest of the world as well. Now I'm writing at night most of the time, so there's not a ton of noise, but it kind of helps me get in that focus point.
Nice. All right. So Ethan, what's your pick for this one?
So I started getting into writing because of the Beat Generation. And so for a while it was jazz that kind of helped percolate that. But then as I started working as a film editor, I really started leaning towards, I can't do lyrics at all. I started leaning towards either classical or film, any sort of soundtrack. I kind of need a lot of the stuff, at least right now, I need urgency or drive one way or another. And so depending on the project, I build a playlist of kind of similar genres of what I'm working in. And then it needs to kind of have a certain type of thematic drive to it that corresponds to what I'm working on. So I do take time to curate my playlist, and then I'll listen to it over and over again, and it helps me build. But yeah, I sometimes silence, but it really does help me either film soundtracks. Like for Shock-Headed Peter, I had a whole soundtrack of stuff as well. But soundtracks and classical music.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't do lyrics, and even though I know sometimes the music does just kind of become white noise and it blends in, if the lyrics are there in the beginning, I can't really handle them. I notice that when I run marathons, I always build a playlist, and if I'm really having a good race, I won't remember any of the songs that played. They just all kind of disappear into the background, but I try to pick songs with beats per minute that would match the pace that I'm trying to match. But then they just kind of fade into the background. But when I'm writing, if there's lyrics, it's harder to let it fade into the background. So I do a lot of post-rock music, bands like Godspeed You Black Emperor and Mono and Explosions in the Sky. Those kind of bands work well. But also movie soundtracks, like you said, those are great because you can pick a soundtrack catered to the kind of writing you're doing. So you're writing a horror story, pick a good horror movie soundtrack. If you're writing something with action, you want that, drive to be in there. So I'm with you on that. But yeah, lyrics are a no-go. That's the one thing that I can't do. And then Godspeed You Black Emperor was my top go-to, and then they just took all their music off of Spotify. And since I usually go to the library to do my writing, that throws me off because I own all their stuff on vinyl, but I'm not bringing a record player to the library with me. So I'm like, all right, I understand their stance and I respect why they took their stuff off Spotify. But I was like, dang, that sucks, because they used to give you those little digital download cards when you bought a vinyl record. And now since everything's gone to streaming, they stopped giving those. So it's like, all right, you want to hear Godspeed in your car, you have to bring your record player. So
gotta either go back to the old school iPods or what is it? A athletic walk.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I still got mine, the iPod. So
I remember I used to go running with this Walkman. It was
Mhm.
like you could, like, because they would skip, CDs would skip, but
Oh,
this
yeah.
one had the vibration built in, and I would run with it, and it was such
Mhm.
it was like a technological marvel. You're like, wow,
Wow.
you can shake it around and run,
Right.
And it actually played without skipping.
Played for it was a Sony
That's
Walkman.
insane. I didn't know they even made something like that, because I tried to put one in my car where you do you get the little tape
Yeah.
adapter and you plug it into your car, and that shit skipped like crazy.
Oh,
So
yeah,
you found one you could run with. That's amazing.
I think we're going back to like a resurgence in physical media of sorts.
Yeah.
People
Oh, we really are. My
Probably
daughter
because of
wanted
what
a
you're
CD
saying.
player so bad, and then
Yeah.
she just came to me yesterday like, look, I got these new CDs. It's like, dang. Supposedly, like, they were 9 Inch Nails and Queens of the Stone Age. It's like, I got those in the garage. You could have just grabbed them out of there, because like they're going to physical media, and they're having this nostalgia for those. It seems the 90s resurgence is happening.
Yeah.
Where when I was younger, I saw the 80s resurgence happen. Now we're seeing the 90s. So I guess eventually we'll see those, like the Strokes and bands from the 2000s will get their second coming. But yeah, it's crazy because now all those bands are touring and making stupid amounts of money, and the kids are buying all their stuff on CD. So it really does feel straight like the 90s.
Yeah.
We have our CD rack right next to our vinyl rack. So
Okay. Yeah, we have the CD spinner, but I have so many CDs. I'd need like 3 CD racks, and most of those I have on vinyl as well. So we keep them in here. Then we keep the CDs that aren't on vinyl as well. So, but yeah, it comes to the one thing you learn about physical media that she's going to learn as well is space. You start running out of space, and you got to start being selective. Like, do I really need to own this CD? Is it that good? Or this album or this book? Because I mean, I look behind us all and I know, Madeleine, when everything's up and in your house, there's going to be lots of books, and physically we're the old school collectors that want to hold it in our hands. And that means you got to store it in your garage too. So it's,
because I still do, but very limited, first edition science fiction novels of authors I liked. And some of them are leather bound, some are signed. And in my old house, they were all in boxes because I had no space, and I would rarely buy books, mostly digital. But now I've got the space to, I'm still working on the library, and so bringing all the books out that have been hiding for 2 decades is kind of fun.
Yeah, you actually get to see them now.
Yeah,
it's like a treasure hunt. You won't even know what you got until you.
It is. I'm like, wait, what? Oh, I have this. I thought I had this.
Nice.
And there's also like a relationship to books you've read, so when you're able to like hold them in your hand, you're like, almost like you remember. I don't know. For me, I love books, so we have so many books.
I think I heard there's nothing so inspiring as an unread book, and I think that also goes for movies or vinyl. Just to have things around the house that you want to read and haven't necessarily got to. For me, because we've obviously read a lot of books and that we have, but you buy things you want to read and you haven't, it does kind of get the mind percolating. Or there's a couple movies that I bought that I haven't seen that are sitting there, and I'll get to them. But it's just so, it's like going through a bookstore, going to the record store, just the possibilities.
Also, we talk about sometimes like inspiration, like when you are working on a project, it's like you have your own resource, like you can go to, and you can be like, oh, what was that thing? And you could check on your own that you have. So that's a great, thing to have as well.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna clip this part out and have my wife listen to it, so that whenever I buy things and I haven't read them yet, she can't say anything. I can say, look, it's inspirational. It's it's almost therapeutic. It's not on the pack rat. It's not that.
Yeah.
I'll support you.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I think this room, everyone on this panel agrees with you. So yeah.
Yes,
we
do.
We're here for you, and we'll tell your wife it's okay.
It's good to know I'm not alone. You know?
Yeah. And that's crazy when you talk about not like I have my stack of books that I need to get to, and I have my stack of like I'll go see a band and I'll love it. I'll go buy their album at the merch table, still don't play it. So yeah, you get the stacks of all the things that you need to get to, and it's just knowing they're there. Yeah, it's like one day when I retire, I will read all the books and listen to all the albums and finally catch up on those shows that everybody tells me I need to binge watch.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yes.
But sometimes you just need to make time to sometimes I'll be reading like 2 or 3 books at the same time, which I know sounds crazy. It'll take me a really long time, but I'm just like, I need not at the same time, of course, but I'm switching back and forth because I've had them for a while and I really want to read this. I really want to read that. And that's another way, like, yes, I agree. There's things we put off, but don't put everything off because then there's certain things, you just want to make sure you get to. So
yeah.
Sorry, you guys. We have our dog. I don't know if you hear him crying. He's a boxer. He's very affectionate and emotional. So like crying.
Oh, no,
he wants attention.
You're fine. My dog whimpers at the door a lot when I'm doing this, especially if no one else in the house is awake. She'll be whimpering at the door. I won't hear it because I got the headphones on. But as soon as I walk out the door, I see that dog looking at me like how dare you leave me alone for all this time? That's the worst.
Yeah.
Well, he's actually nibbling at Ethan's toes right now. So just he's just so anyway, don't mind us if we look down to try to
I figured there was a dog because every once in a while mine will come wandering in and out and whining like, why aren't you paying attention to me? And
that's funny. We got 3 whimpering dogs. I just have mine hanging at the door. Although I think my wife is up and around because she's been commenting, so the dog is probably contentedly laying on the couch now and doing nothing because there's someone else there and she's not all alone. So all right.
Oh, nice.
Good morning.
I'm half surprised one of my cats hadn't made an appearance. They normally like to walk by. So
there's always the pet appearances on this, and we're always here for that.
Yes. And switching back to books, I mostly do audio now just because of travel, at the gym. It's the only time I get to read. So if anyone needs any recommendations on good audiobooks, I'm probably your person.
I will actually I will take you up on that because I've started to do audiobooks as well when I go on my runs because I don't have enough time to read all the things, but I'm always going out, for multiple. The minimum I'm going to go running for is an hour and the maximum is going to be 3 or 4 hours. So that's a perfect time to start absorbing new books. So I will take you up on that because I'm always looking for something good because it keeps my mind off the fact that my legs hurt, my feet are hurting, this mile sucks, it's hot. It's like, nope, I'm engaged in this book. And this is now that's the only thing I care about, not this shitty hill that I'm about to start climbing.
Well, I'll recommend one before we move on, and that would be Martha Wells's Murderbot Diaries. Okay. It's read by Kevin R. Free, and he is amazing. I actually rather listen to the books than read them because they're all in first person, and if you read them, there's a ton of parentheticals, and so you're reading them. Sometimes I get a little, there's too many parentheticals, but you're listening. And it's just outstanding. I realize there's the TV show. I don't have Apple, so I haven't seen the show yet, which I also hear is wonderful.
Okay.
But yeah, and what's nice is that the first 4 books are novellas, so they're not overly long.
Okay.
And will get you engaged very, very quickly. And I also really admire Martha Wells because if you don't know, very quick, her story, she was a fantasy writer for all her life, lives in Texas. And she even talks about how she'd been watching her career decline. The 3-book deal and the 2-book deal and the 1-book deal. And she figured, this is going to be all she wrote pretty soon here. And she came up with Murderbot. Wow. Her agent said, I think this will do pretty well. I like it. I think it'll be good. And as you probably know, it exploded
Yeah.
into this whole thing. And so now she was like this middle tier writer, and now she's getting book deals up the wazoo. They're reissuing her back library. It's wonderful. And I actually started reading, or actually listening to, some of her fantasy books, which are very good. Mm-hmm. And not really sure why she hadn't been more well known. Kind of like Elizabeth Bear. I don't know if you know Elizabeth Bear. She's done steampunk stuff, which I haven't read for a lot of other reasons. But she has a science fiction series called the White Space series, which is just excellent. Kind of highly, they kind of, a lot of the female writers often are just like right under the radar, particularly in the science fiction universe, unless they are a breakout like Martha Wells did.
Yeah.
So yeah, highly recommend.
Well, there you go. There, you picked it for tomorrow's long run. I got my book, because I've been listening right now to the Motley Crue biography book, and that one, I just need a break from it. It's like in small doses. It's funny to listen to the insanity that band had, but oh man, you need breaks from it. They were pretty horrible.
Wow.
And they documented everything.
Go get the first Murderbot novella.
Yeah, there you go. So that Murderbot novella to give me a break from Motley Crue, because it was just playing because someone else had recommended that book. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a chance. Like, man, I mean, I'm sure they're fabricating some of it, because they probably were so wrecked on drugs they don't remember the actual event. But yeah, it's just crazy, and they definitely don't respect women very much. So. Yeah, you wonder now, they probably have daughters, and it's like, ooh, do they look back and just like, ooh, damn, I was awful. I mean, I don't know. I haven't made it to the end of the book. Maybe there's the redemption arc of Vince Neil. I don't know.
Or maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe just continue down the hole.
Yeah. It's hard to say, because I don't know if I'll make it to the end of the book. I look at it as like 17 hours. Like, do I have 17 hours to dedicate to listening to this? Because already, like 4 hours in, it's like, man, I don't know. And I'm not even, they haven't even got signed yet in this book, and they're already up to lots of no good.
Wow. You might have found your villainy.
Motley Crue is the ultimate villain. There you go. So we revising my answer, removing Hans, and it's now Motley Crue.
Motley Crue.
The collective Motley Crue, all four members. All right, so now let's talk about some campaigns. We have actually 3 live campaigns, and then mine I'll talk about at the very end because it's still in pre-launch. So we will start with Madeleine. Let me pull it up. Oh, what happened?
Might have frozen, and then she popped.
No, she might have.
Maybe she's going to pop back in.
She's back in.
Okay.
Right.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes my internet goes wonky.
Yeah, me too. And I try to plug it in, but I had Spectrum. Spectrum was god-awful. I quit it, and now I have ATT, and it's slightly better than god-awful, but not what I'd call great. All right, so let me pull up your campaign. This is where my bad vision gets to me, and I got to do the squint mode of this episode. So forgive me for that. All right, so we're in Boston Metaphysical Society, and let me get it up. All right, so here we go. Tell us about this campaign.
Well, for those of you who are not familiar with the overall premise of Boston Metaphysical Society, it's about an ex-Pinkerton detective, a spirit photographer, and a genius scientist who battles supernatural forces in late 1800s Boston. We started with a 6-issue miniseries which became one. Then 4 standalone sequels with our which is now volume 2. And this is the 3rd series of which the team has essentially and
And I don't know, is it? It's breaking up a bit. Sorry about that.
There we go.
All right, that sounds better.
Okay. And so yeah, we've got about, well, soon will be 11 days left. We just went over we just made our last stretch goal, and I may have another one. I'm working on that right now before we end. We might be able to squeeze one more in.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a lot there. We have a starter kit for those who are, brand new and want physical editions of Volume 1 and the novel Storm of Secrets, which is a prequel to the graphic novel. There's also an audio drama, which it takes place roughly during Volume 1. And that's available either as a download, a flash drive, or a CD, for those of you who still have CD players, as we were talking about before. And we have 2 variant covers, one by Yishan Lee and one by Gwen Tavares. And all of our main covers are done by Angela Wu.
And has she done them all through this whole series?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. Is she the interior artist as well?
No. I've had 2 interior artists. The issue 1 and 2 was done by Elizabeth McKedza, and issue 3 and 4 was done by Daniela Rivera.
Nice.
Though the whole thing was colored by Katie Brown.
Okay.
I kept Katie on to keep consistency between issue 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Okay. We have those variants, lots of add-ons. I think one of my books is in your stretch goals as well. So.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, I think Immortal Era 1 is one of the stretch goals. So
yes,
I highly recommend that. Kind of have to.
Yes.
All right.
And
so there we go. Some of your stretch goals.
You're in the first bundle.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, and I think I've read all these books in the bundle, so I can say you will be getting some good stuff. I just had actually Fish Lee, who did the Green Zone. He did a variant cover for my new book that's coming out. So
oh, cool.
Yeah, I love Fish Lee's stuff, and just got him to do one for me. So the second stretch goal is
at the House Chow dirigible magnet.
Nice.
And so I mix it up between digital and physical stretch goals, because what's nice about the digital is that everybody gets them.
Yeah.
Both digital and physical folks. But then I like to give something special for those who pledge to physical rewards. Mm-hmm. So I like to balance that off. And yes, I have to go in, and we've actually made that. I have to go in and fix that and make that announcement this morning.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten there yet. I always like to wait until we're like a couple $100 above the stretch goal before I release the next stretch goal, just because people, they change their pledges, they cancel, things move around. And in this way, it's pretty solid. We're past the stretch goal. So.
All right. So yeah, I always do that because you always get cancellations. It's always rough.
It happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Things happen in life, and when you have to prioritize, comic books always drop low on that list of priorities. So
yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
But that's why it's smart not to do it. I always think I wait about the same. It's like when I'm about 100 above what the stretch goal was, you can trust it, especially for mine, because mine are lower money campaigns.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
generally you don't get it in. And my last few have been really good. I think I've only had maybe 1 or 2 drop backers, and they sent me a little apology, like, I'm so sorry, things are coming up. So it's nice when you have backers that care so much that they want to let you know why they're canceling. So.
No, that's really nice. Yeah, because they simply don't, they don't have to.
No, they don't, because
their lives.
Right. Their lives, their money. And you don't begrudge whatever choice they make. But when they take the time out, it's like, all right, that's
really nice.
It shows that they respect you and, don't want to hurt your feelings, which, like you said, you can't get your feelings hurt. Because if you get your feelings hurt after every dropped backer, you're just going to cry.
Yeah. I've seen people just kind of lose it sometimes when they get a drop backer, and it's like, you need to take a step back, breathe.
Yeah.
It's okay. You don't know what's going on in these people's lives, and just move on.
Yeah. There was one guy though. It was a few years ago, and I'm in a few groups with different Kickstarters, and we can cross promote and everything. And he was putting $500 to $800 pledges on people's campaigns, and then dropping them at the last day, trying to unfund them. So they ended up kicking that guy off of Kickstarter. So people like him, yeah, you don't want people like him, but the regular people that just have their other issues are a different story. But yeah, that guy, remember, everybody's like, oh crap, he just went on my campaign, so you always hoped you were over. And I think that's when Kickstarter made that rule that within the last 48 hours you can't unfund a comic by dropping your pledge or whatever the campaign is.
Yeah, but unfortunately they can also still cancel afterwards, and that their pledge doesn't go through the credit card.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to report that, and they do try really hard. We call them kick trollers.
No.
They used to be a lot more prevalent than they are now, and they're definitely are sneakier now and have multiple accounts. I occasionally will get them, but what they do, but usually I fund within the first 12 hours, so that's not ever an issue.
Yeah.
But I'll see some folks they'll pledge to a high amount, and then over the course of the 4 weeks, they'll gradually decrease over 4 weeks and then drop.
Yep.
Like,
we've all seen that one.
Like,
Yeah.
Who has time for that?
Yeah.
who has time?
There's a lot of bookkeeping right there.
Yes, more like Kickstoppers. That definitely sounds correct. Those
Yes.
ones, like you said, there's less and less of them, but man, there were some, and that's
They
how
were
we
bad.
knew that you were gonna lose it, because they would hit every campaign from our group. Like, oh, he just did mine. Well, now he just dropped mine, and yeah, they'll do the shrinking pledge game too. So either one is rough to deal with. That is for sure.
Yeah, if for those who are new to the Kickstarter, the crowdfunding game, if you see a really large pledge come in from someone you do not personally know, it's automatically suspect.
Yeah, don't count that money.
Automatically, and I would contact Kickstarter immediately and just say, because it can really bollocks up your campaign.
Yeah.
Particularly in the beginning. And I've seen this with larger campaigns where they get a $10,000 pledge because it's a big campaign, a bigger campaign, like for $25,000, $50,000. And they'll go like, oh yeah. And I'm thinking like, do you know this person? Do you have a relationship somehow that they would do this amount of money? And inevitably it gets pulled, and then they're like, and then they're trying to contact them. I'm like, no, you just got scammed.
That's that.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, you really have to pay attention to any inordinately large pledge coming in. And if you have no connection to this person at all, you need to contact Kickstarter.
Yeah, that is true. Because they may have thousands of campaigns that they've backed, but that doesn't mean that they're not just doing it over and over to people. And like you said,
Correct.
They canceled the dead credit card that they're putting on there that will always error at the end. It's always contact Kickstarter, and then cross your fingers, because once or twice I've actually got lucky, and they were real people who really just wanted a copy of every CGC book that I had. So it's like, all right.
Yeah, and
sometimes
then
they're real.
Sometimes it is, but you need to you need to look at it.
Yeah, 90% of the time it's not going to be a legit one.
Yeah.
All right, so let's pull up Shockhead Peter and tell us a little bit about this book. This is issue 2.
Yes.
Yes, this is part 2 of a 3-part. We say a graphic novel in 3 parts. So Shockheaded Peter is an effed up fairy tale. It's Labyrinth meets A Nightmare on Elm Street with Tim Burton vibes. It's basically about the harbinger of punishment descends on the small town of Winding Springs, and a teenage girl with a literal broken heart who is all of a sudden disturbed by her desire to join him. So we kind of reimagined a small part of a 19th century German children's storybook and kind of created this whole mythology around a character and created an entirely new world. And we do integrate aspects of that older source material into this new version of the book, which is kind of a cool little...
like we pay homage to a few parts. And the first book was 60 pages, and this new one is 108 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, so people will obviously have a chance to, get the first book as well, like a catch-up tier. And we have 4 days left, so we wrap up on Tuesday on the 4th.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're about to hit our first stretch goal, and then we'll reveal the second one, which is pretty awesome. And we're hoping we'll kind of have a surge to be able to get that second stretch goal to everyone.
Yeah.
Because it's a really cool thing we want to show people.
And it's going to be available to both digital and physical. Like our first stretch goal, it is a digital stretch goal, but it's available to everyone who backed it.
Right.
And then the second one, which we're hoping to, as Ethan said, get a surge for that, will be for both digital and physical backers.
And all the art is done by our artist in Rome, Giuseppe Sabe Di Stefano. And Joe does all the pencils, inks, color, and letters.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
A one-man shop.
Yeah.
Did it all. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I love the art. I loved it in the first volume as well.
Oh yeah, and he's only, like, if you look at Ruby in that cover right there, he's only up in his game. His details getting better.
Yeah.
He's getting, and it's kind of also by design too. We talked to him about this. We like the innocent, childlike nature of the art.
The look of it, yeah, the visual.
Because Joe has a background in animation, so kind of had that early morning cartoon vibe. But as we're going through, we wanted to get a little more mature.
Yeah, and
yeah,
the rest just gets darker too, so it lends itself to that. And a moment ago, you just showed our variant cover, which is by another artist who also did a variant cover for us in the first campaign. And this is San Espina. So this is our variant cover for part 2. It's gorgeous as well.
Yeah, he does those all hand drawn with pencils. And that's basically just a scan, but he did a colored. Yeah,
that looks great. Both covers came out really, really well.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited. We're so lucky to work with these artists. And Giuseppe, who loves us to call him Joe, that's what we go by. He also, for the first part, we did like a rebrand of the cover for that. So the people who get the catch-up for this time around will get the rebrand with a new colorway for part 1.
He also did what you showed, our trading cards, which is our homage to Garbage Pail Kids. We did a little kind of Garbage Pail-esque trading set that Joe did. So we include that also with a bunch of the tiers.
Yeah. So again, it's a fantasy horror, and as we were saying, it's like a effed up fairy tale, and this harbinger of punishment. We kind of call him like a deranged fairy godmother. So it's like, it's fun, but it is dark. A few people, their comments were like, this is a lot scarier than I thought, or this is a lot darker.
Because people get not misinformed. They get distracted by the art. They think that it's going to be a little more wholesome than it is, which again,
it was purposeful
design.
Like to balance out again the fantasy aspect of it. You could see that, and then the horror is obviously what takes place. But it also has a lot of heart. Like, we're very much about like character development. So we like our characters to be very layered. So it's not just like horror for horror's sake.
That's why we say haunted horror with a hint of heart.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that.
That's nice.
And like I said, I enjoyed issue 1. It's been a while. I need to reread it. It's one of those things where I read it because I think we were on one of Travis's shows together or something like
Yes.
that, and
Yeah.
I watched it and I backed it. So it was one of those things where I read it right away, and I'm going to get the links into the chat for you guys as well. So that way, if you want to back it, here's for the Boston Metaphysical Society, and I'm going to pull up and I'm going to put in Shockhead Peters as well. Both of these have, how much time is left on yours? I'm trying to remember. They have a few days left. I know not
We
a
have
lot.
just over 3 days. We end Tuesday night just before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
November 4th. Yeah.
So yeah, get on these ones. Are you going to do late pledges?
We are going to have a late pledge just for the book with no rewards.
Okay.
Or no additional
yeah.
stuff.
So you just get the book straight by itself, and that'll miss the
Yeah,
stretch goals and everything.
We also want to, for the people who did back us during the campaign, we want them to be able to have the benefits of,
yeah, the other rewards.
The extra merch.
That makes sense. Yeah, they can get the good stuff. And for me, the one thing I do like about late pledges is because there's people that tell me I don't want to pledge because they're not going to take the money for 30 days. They like to wait and pledge on payday. So that's why I always keep late pledges open for a full month. So that way, okay, now you got paid. And when you do a late pledge, they take it immediately. So it's more like making a transaction at a store or something instead of the wait for 30 days one. So yeah, I had people who said, oh, you late pledges, I don't want to do that. They got to get it when it's open. It's like, well, some people have different situations, and why not let them do that? And I had a couple who canceled on the campaign and came back and got a late pledge when they actually had the money to do it. So, and I like how you do it. You don't have so much to try to keep track of on the late pledges. I think I'm going to do that too. Like late pledges, you can get the book and that'll be that. So I'm still in the last parts of building my campaign. So I like that idea.
And also, just because the book we don't do the 22 pages. We try to reiterate that it's
108 pages.
Yeah, that it's a bigger, meatier part 2.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, this thing was a graphic novel from its inception, and we've just broken it up in parts, essentially to fund its creation.
Yeah, we've always known exactly how the whole story takes place and ends. So
But
And how many pages is the last volume going to be?
Right now it's 72, so I think all in total will be 238 pages.
Okay.
When it's done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So let's pull up our last campaign. Just give me a moment here. And definitely get in there and back these projects. I can highly recommend them because I've read both of the first 2, and my third one. Let's talk about In Our Dreams. All right, I got to be careful. Sometimes I'll accidentally try to navigate back and hit the X button, and then you guys are on your own. That's the squint version of all this, which connects to my book when we talk about it in a little bit. So tell us about In Our Dreams Awake number 3.
So In Our Dreams Awake is the 3rd issue of a 4-issue series that we're doing. I co-wrote it with Egg Embry. It's what we like to call, it's a fantasy comic. It is a cyberpunk comic and what we call a dream punk comic. So the story is Jason Byron lives in a fantasy style world where magic has beaten out technology. And the Magi basically have outlawed certain pieces of tech. When he lays his head down to go to sleep at night, he wakes up and he's in a futuristic cyberpunk world where he is a gangster and he has to deal with fish aliens and a drowning London. And then when he lays his head down to go to sleep there, he ends up back in the fantasy world. And so the point of the book is that we don't know, he doesn't know, and we don't know which of these is the dream and which of these is the reality. And the first 2 issues, one of the things we did is I wrote the fantasy portion, Egg wrote the cyberpunk futuristic portion, and then we had 2 different art teams to work on the book so that we want it to both be very jarring, so you're in a different world. Edgar Salazar did the art on the fantasy side, and then Roland Kalnis did the cyberpunk future art. And so the first 2 issues, we basically it was the first 12 pages was one dream, then this last part of the comic was the separate dream. Now that we're on the third issue, those dreams are starting to collide and his lives are spinning out of control. And so this is the first time where there's a lot of intercutting between the two dreams, as those worlds do just completely spin out. And so the ultimate goal when we get to the fourth issue is he's going to have to make a choice, to live in one of the worlds or not. And, it really, this project we've been working on for over a decade. It's one of those things where, we had the art teams in place, and then one of the artists kind of dropped off the face of the earth. And so that delayed things. And then we found Roland's to kind of step in and help us out on the cyberpunk side. But, fundamentally, I feel like it's really about, that old saying of like the grass is not always greener on the other side. And Jason Byron is really living that as he, tries to navigate these two very different worlds. So.
Very cool. And how many issues is it planned to be overall?
So it'll be 4 issues total. So
4 total. Okay.
Yeah. And we have 90% of issue 4 done as well. We're basically doing letters and a few pages of colors. So the hope is we have 7 days left on this one to hit our funding goal. We're really only asking for, enough to print the comics. Obviously, if you get more, that's great. Then, hopefully in the spring, launch issue 4 and kind of wrap the series up. So I'm excited. Like I said, it's about a decade plus old, as far as like from the inception of, early emails between Egg and myself. So I'm really happy and excited to kind of get to the finish line and have everyone read this complete thing, that we created. So
yeah, that's great. You're 3 out of 4, so you're almost there. That is great, because it's getting it. And anyone, because I mean, inevitably, if you've done shows or cons, everybody comes up to you like, what can I do to start making my own comic books? And it's like, save a lot of money first, and beyond that, you just gotta keep pushing, because it's so many people will tell me I have this great idea, and oh my gosh, they'll come and tell you every idea that they have for their comic books. Like, okay, that's great, make it happen. But you're 3/4 of the way. And then will you do a trade to collect everything together when you're all done?
Yeah, I think I don't think immediately, but as we start running out of the physical copies, I definitely could see maybe early 2027, maybe targeting that to do maybe a Kickstarter run for the trade and collect it, because I do feel like this. I hate it when you specifically say this, but it's like I do think this is going to read well in the trade, especially with indie kind of putting these out every year or whatever. There is that gap, like you said. Oh, I've got to reread issue 1 of. So it's kind of that when you have it all together, it is also. And then going back to our early conversation about holding physical things, it's like when you hold the comics, but when you also hold that trade, it really is that like next adrenaline. Euphoria, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And that wait for the trade mentality it doesn't matter what you do, people will wait for the trade. Even if you're doing indie comics and you tell them it might be 4 years before you see this trade, they're like, I'll wait, I'm good.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that happened to me with our original 6-issue miniseries that I did a lot of cons back in the early days, like 20 per year. And I remember there was like 2 guys I would run into all the time. They would come and chat and we would talk. They'd never buy anything. A few years later, when we finally came out with the trade, they bought it. And it actually never said that, but that's what they were waiting for. They were seeing if we were going to finish. And that's fair.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that, we can also, because I feel like I do this when I back other projects. I'll do the digital a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then when the trade or when the series is done, then I, get all the physical thing to have.
Yeah. And that
but
makes
I want to
sense.
support them, along the way.
Yeah, because with indie comics, a lot don't make it to the finish line. I mean, it's a sad reality of things. So I can see why a consumer doesn't want 2 issues that were supposed to be 4 then never happen. So it does make sense. And I think the longer you go, the more trust you get with your people. Because with Immortal Era, I just released issue 11. So my audience knows I'm not just going to disappear. they know, okay, if you can make it through 11 issues, you're not just going to say, all right, I'm going to quit now. I've decided I don't want to finish my story. So they build that trust, but I still have the people. Volume 2 comes out when? So they're like, all right, we trust you, but we're still not buying your floppies. So
with Shock-Headed Peter, I mean, we kind of, just because of the nature of the first arc being 60 pages, we always had the perfect bound idea in our heads. So like part 1, we wanted to, like, you know, it has a spine, you can fit this on your shelf. And we designed part 2, just like part 1, you know, the covers for this are only going to be what you're going to get here. You won't be able to necessarily get it the next time. Every book will be able to sit on your shelf. And for part 3, our idea is that you'll be able to take all the ones you've had from previous campaigns, and we'll offer you a slipcase that you can put them in, and you can have your collected, kind of like, you know, you're snapping together your own trade, your own version of the graphic novel, so that if you did collect before, your reward is you buy the slipcase, you put them all in.
I like that, because my volume 1's sitting on the bookshelf behind me somewhere, and I like the idea of having the place to put all 3, because I don't need to buy the trade. If you put out a trade, I have all 3 volumes. I'll be content with those 3 volumes. And giving the slipcase is a beautiful way to reward the people that were there from the beginning. So
and if you got multiple variants, you can have multiple variant collections in the slipcase, because you'll be able to get the slipcase separately and snap them all in.
Yeah, I love that idea. I might be stealing it when I get to my volumes as well.
Honestly, I love it for it's, you know, because like I would love to see that on people's bookshelves, and so it's free to, you know, take it if it's good. Take it.
Good ideas are taken, and it's a you know, and it's like, oh, I'm going to borrow that idea. I think that's a great
and I'm a teacher. We steal ideas all the time. That's how we roll. And I used to get offended if someone would steal my ideas, but I'm like, no, that's flattery. Never mind. I'm going to get bent out of shape about that.
We ourselves got the idea from an Umbrella Academy collection that we saw. So we're like, oh, that's, you know.
Yeah, they have the slipcase. It's great.
Yeah, that is, like I said,
no, we all are inspired by each other. And even on occasion, Mike Shea, who does Miskatonic High, we've actually never met in person, but we've DM'd each other. It's like, okay, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? That. And the whole metal bookmark thing, I got from him.
Okay.
Because he had, they actually, on my metal business cards, were using his bookmark design as part of their marketing. And I'm like, that's Mike's. That's Mike's. Where did he get that? You know? So,
Yeah. Borrow, because I mean, no one's, don't steal their book ideas, but steal their merch, steal their ideas for all the little merch and stretch goals, because people love them. And if you use the same thing, then guess what? Your crowd's gonna love it just as much as his. So I like that.
You're gonna put your spin on it.
We're building on each other. It's kind of building on it, inspired and building upon each other. So that's great.
Yeah, because I'm about to wrap up an arc in Immortal Era, and the slipcase. Okay, you bought all the floppies. Here's a slipcase that you can put it in, because they don't want to buy the trade, but they can have a little slipcase that's cool that they can hold them in anyway. Yeah, because my floppy guys never buy the trades. My trade guys never buy the floppies. And it's, you know what? Let both of them have something cool to put on the bookshelf.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That's a good idea.
All right. So we will quickly talk about my upcoming campaign. We're launching on next Friday. We'll do a live at 7 Eastern. We'll be doing a live stream where we're going to talk more about the book. I'll have the artist in here talking about it, and it is, just give me a moment, Floaters is the name of the story. It's a one-shot book that tells the story of eye floaters. And I don't know if any of you have experienced eye floaters, but I started to develop eye floaters, and it went from just a couple to 40% of my visual field was completely taken over by floaters that look like tiny little gnats. And I ended up having to go to hospital waiting rooms. And there was one particular day where I was in waiting rooms for 17 hours and 3 different hospitals, 17 hours total. And the nurse looks at me. I hadn't had any food. I mean, no, we're drinking from the water fountain. And she said, "What can I bring you?" I said, "I want a pad of paper and a pen, please." And I created this story while sitting in hospital waiting rooms where I thought, what if floaters weren't just something that develops in your eyes, but were actually something more malevolent? And these floaters are actually parasites that take over your brain and make you into either a homicidal maniac, or they make you into an enabler who tries to activate the floaters and the homicidals, because there's 2 types of floaters you can get. And half of these people with floaters are just trying to make these people finally snap. And pain is what activates the floaters. So we see people trying to cause others pain so that their floaters will activate and they will be taken over by them. So it's a very dark story written at a time when my mindset was in a very dark place. I have a brother who completely lost his vision. So when I started having eye issues, I was freaking the fuck out. So it was, all right, let me take all this negative energy and channel it somewhere. And that channeling is floaters, which is by far the darkest thing I've ever written. But it kind of got me through a time when I was just losing my mind. So I figured, why not do something positive with this? And it has few strange autobiographical moments, like the fact that in this story, one of our main character is attacked by a homeless woman when he's leaving the eye doctor, which actually happened to me. She ran up to me, grabbed me by the shoulders, and started shaking me, saying, "You're not real." It's like, damn, I'm going to have to revise this book a little bit, because that's definitely going in there.
Writing notes while she's shaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, wait, stop for a second. I got to get this down. So, yeah.
I always say, write what you know. Well, suddenly you knew that.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so I'm not real. So wait, these floaters make them not real. And some people can identify that. So, yeah, I took that. And then the first day when I was developing floaters, I was out on a run and I got bit by a dog. And I thought, all right, wait, the dog's by one of the enablers who's trying to activate the floaters. And she's trained her dog to bite people that have the floaters. So, yeah, I took my dog bite into that too. So it's like adding all the wacky reality into this story. And you realize, when I realize how much of it's real, and, you know, obviously not the snapping into a homicidal maniac part, my family's fine. They're just sleeping. So, but yeah, that one is launching next week, and it's a one-shot because I never want to be in that headspace again. So I wrote it to where it can be a quick one and done. It's an isolated story, but it is open for sequels because the floaters don't just go away. They just move to the next person. So as our story ends, the floaters are moving to their next victim, but I truly don't want to write a sequel. So I hope my head never gets in that messed up of a headspace again. But at least now we have this one out, and Dan Schmidt did the art. I'm really excited about it because he did, if you've read he has his graphic novels, Worms Crawl In and Worms Crawl Out, and he does horror really well. And he was able to take some of the weird stuff in my head and make it a reality. So next week we launch, and like I said, it's a one shot. And we'll also be doing, since it was kind of inspired by Junji Ito and his crazy stuff that he does, we're going to do a black and white version as well.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Okay. Sounds cool.
All right. So we're going to just wrap things up. So John, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me at johnrmcguire.com. It has all my novels and the various comics I've done over the years. And like I said, In Our Dreams Awake has one more week for issue 3. So go check it out on Kickstarter.
Yeah, grab it while you can. And all the links for these books are in the chat. So go ahead and check his out. And actually, I'll put the link for Floaters. And Madeleine, tell us where we can find you.
Well, on Kickstarter right now with Mystery at Pikes Peak, just type in Boston Metaphysical and it'll take you right to it. My website is queenofmercia.com. That's my overall company name. On Facebook as Madeleine Holly-Rosing or Boston Metaphysical or Queen of Mercia. I'm on Blue Sky and Instagram. So there you go.
All right. And Ethan and Jessica, where can we find you?
Well, as Madeleine said, you can find Shock-Headed Peter right now on Kickstarter until the 4th, or continue, following us. You can find me. I'm at jessicasilvetti.com, or you can also find me on Instagram at jess_Silvetti.
You can find me at ebkogan.com. You can find any of our film and TV work at lightandshadow.pictures. Shock-Headed Peter is also up there as well. And we have 3 days left, so get in the campaign, check it out. Shockheaded2.com takes you directly to the Kickstarter. We hope you can kind of join the community.
Yeah, grab it. It's great. I loved issue 1 and Boston Metaphysical Society. I can vouch for that. And I definitely am going to be reading your work, John. I know you sent me the digitals. So now that I'm back from vacation, it's time to read some comics. And you can find me at Finish Line Comics on all the social media, including YouTube. And please hit that pre-launch button for Floaters. I'm really hoping to make it to 50 followers, or I think we're at 42 right now. So yes, if you want to read a dark story, if you like crazy body horror, this is your book. My first official horror book, even though my books always have lots of blood and decapitated heads. This time it's full horror and messed up reality instead of messed up fiction. All right. Well, I will see you on Wednesday for our music show. And then next Friday, I won't have a Saturday show, but we'll be doing the show on Friday and launching Floaters. And until then, have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Nice meeting everybody.
Nice meeting you guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
If you missed the live viewing of any Madness Entertainment Group production, you can find all our content on Roku or as a member of this channel. We'll see you next time on the Madness Entertainment Group.